Every time I looked around our home, the longing bubbled to the surface, this desire to start a family with Vincent. The nursery we had set up felt like a promise unfulfilled. I could almost hear the laughter of children we didn't yet have. Each unspoken wish echoed in the silence between us. I loved Vincent, but a part of me felt restless, knowing that time was slipping through our fingers like sand. Yet beneath the surface, Vincent struggled too, though he wore his mask well. He was stressed about work, job security, and our future. I could see the weight of those worries etched on his brow as he spent long nights in his home office, buried in paperwork and bills. His desire to provide for us clashed with the pressure he felt, leaving him anxious and disconnected. I'd often catch him staring out the window, lost in thoughts that felt miles away from me. When my phone rang with Jodi's familiar voice, I felt a spark of excitement flicker within. "Come visit me in Lagos," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. Jodi worked at the embassy and always promised adventures. I hesitated, thinking about Vincent's schedule, but the idea of a holiday, sunshine, laughter, letting go of responsibilities was too tempting to resist. "I'll do it," I declared, a sense of rebellion surging through me. After all, I deserved a break from reality. Upon arrival in Lagos, I was swept into a whirlwind of colors and sounds. The city buzzed with life, a stark contrast to the quiet of my usual surroundings. Jodi and I explored vibrant markets and sampled street food that teased our taste buds. I felt liberated, forgetting for a moment my longing for a baby and the weight of unfulfilled dreams. In Lagos, every day burst with possibility. One evening, we decided to indulge in a local restaurant, its ambience warm and inviting. Our waiter, Dale, approached us with a smile that took my breath away. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a flat stomach that felt like a distant dream in my marriage, he radiated an effortless charm. His English was limited, but that only seemed to amplify his allure. I found myself captivated, every glance igniting a spark I hadn't felt in a long time. As we ordered, Dale's eyes sparkled with a playful curiosity. Did he notice me? I wondered, my heart racing. Each interaction felt electric, the way he leaned closer to capture my attention, his broken English somehow adding to his mystique. Jodi's laughter faded as my world narrowed down to that moment, to the chemistry blossoming in the space between Dale and me. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Returning home to England felt like a harsh wake-up call. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, but all I could think about was Dale. The memories replayed in my mind like a favorite song on repeat. I daydreamed about his smile, the way his gaze ignited something inside me that I thought had long gone dormant. I was consumed by fantasies, fleeting but intoxicating, in which Dale was everything I desired and more. But the thrill of my daydreams came with a heavy weight of guilt. I felt torn between the intoxicating allure of what could have been with Dale and the life I had built with Vincent. Each glance at our framed pictures sent a stab of guilt through my heart. How could I long for another man when I had promised my life to Vincent? The emotional turmoil spiraled. I was trapped in a whirlpool of desire and regret, trying to ignore the growing void in my heart. At night, I surrendered to my fantasies. Thoughts of Dale filled my dreams, breaking down the walls I had built around my heart. In my imagination, he wasn't just a handsome stranger from a holiday. He became an escape, a voice whispering promises of excitement and passion. In those moments, lost in fantasy, I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. But reality loomed large, eager to snuff out the fire that blazed within me. I stood at a crossroads, balancing the yearning for adventure against my commitment to Vincent. Should I explore this newfound desire, risking everything for the excitement Dale stirred within me? Or should I bury this longing deep inside and settle into my familiar life? The thoughts swirled in my mind like a tempest, stirring an unsettling blend of fear and exhilaration. I knew I had to make a choice, but the decision felt impossibly daunting. With every passing day, the pressure built within me, this urgent need to confront my emotions. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, shackled by fantasies and guilt. I stood before the mirror one morning, searching my own eyes for clarity. I had to choose what I truly wanted. Did I desire the thrill of the unknown, or was it time to invest wholeheartedly in the life I had promised Vincent? The reckoning had arrived, demanding that I embrace my truth no matter how terrifying it might be. It started with a single thought, a craving for the warmth of Lagos and the rush of excitement I had felt before. Returning to that vibrant city would be my escape, a chance to untangle the chaotic emotions swirling within me since my last trip. I made a decision: I would go back. The allure of the sun, the culture, and perhaps, just perhaps, seeing Dale again made my heart race. I needed to reignite that spark I had felt with him, a desire that had lingered long after I had left. When I walked into the restaurant once more, the familiar ambience enveloped me like a warm embrace. My heart thudded in my chest at the thought of seeing Dale again. Jody and I settled at our usual table, and as I glanced around, I felt a thrill of hope mixed with anxiety. What would he say? Would he remember me? Just then, Dale appeared, his charming smile lighting up the room. "Kelly! You're back!" Dale exclaimed, his voice smooth and deep, sending shivers down my spine. He leaned casually against our table, and with every compliment he tossed my way, I felt the magnetic pull between us intensify. "You look even more beautiful than I remember." My cheeks flushed at his words, and the tension in the air shifted, lingering like an unspoken promise. We laughed and chatted, each shared moment igniting the desire that had smoldered deep within me since we last met. As we chatted, the world around us faded, the laughter and clinking of glasses became background noise to the symphony of our connection. Dale's eyes sparkled with mischief, and every word he spoke wrapped around me like a cozy blanket. In that moment, everything shifted. The flirty banter, the heated glances, it felt like a spark had ignited something deeper. I could no longer deny the pull I felt towards him. "How about I show you the city tomorrow?" he offered, and I realized I couldn't resist. The next day, we explored Lagos. Dale was like a whirlwind of energy. He took me to colorful markets, rooftop viewpoints, and hidden gems that only locals knew about. The sun warmed our skin, and with every passing moment, my attraction to him deepened. We shared stories, laughter, and a connection that felt almost electric. Each time our hands brushed against one another, a fire ignited in my chest, and I knew the boundaries I had set were beginning to blur. As the day faded into twilight, I felt a tension rising between us that was impossible to ignore. Dale suggested we head to his uncle's house in Ikeja to escape the hustle of the city. It was there in the boys' quarters, tucked away from the world, that temptation took root. My heart raced as I followed him, excitement and anxiety curling in my stomach, locking me in a thrilling dance of fear and desire. Once inside, the atmosphere shifted. The room was dimly lit, the air thick with an unspoken promise. Our eyes locked, and without a word, he leaned in, capturing my lips with his. The kiss ignited every suppressed feeling I had held back, every longing for adventure, for connection. It was a whirlwind of passion. Our bodies entwined as if they were meant to fit together, and in that moment, the chaos of my life faded away into blissful oblivion. I was consumed by desire, unraveling in a way I had never imagined. As we lay in the aftermath, the warmth of our connection enveloped me, but a sense of reality crashed in like a wave. What had I done? In my pursuit of desire, I'd crossed a line I might never be able to undo. My mind flickered between excitement and fear as thoughts returned to Vincent, my husband, my life. In the bliss of passion, I realized the weight of my decision, and that glimmer of guilt began to tarnish the moment. I sat on the edge of the bed, the warmth of Dale's body still lingering in the air, but the reality of my actions pressed down on me like a heavy fog. Dale's affection poured over me like a balm, but I couldn't shake off the unease gnawing at my heart. What would tomorrow bring? Was I making a mistake? As Dale looked at me with a mix of admiration and concern, I felt the impending clash between desire and responsibility swelling inside me, pulling me in two different directions. As dawn broke, spilling light into the room, I knew I had to face my truth. This trip had awakened parts of me long buried under expectations and responsibilities. The choice before me was clear. I could no longer pretend. I had to confront what this desire meant for my life, a question of loyalty and personal freedom. As I looked out the window at the dawn of a new day, I felt an undeniable call to reckoning. I couldn't hide from my feelings any longer. I had to choose which path I would embrace and what kind of woman I truly wanted to be. Returning to England felt surreal. My heart ached with the weight of two contrasting lives entwined in secrecy and longing. On the surface, everything appeared as it should: my home, my routine, Vincent waiting with open arms. But beneath it all, I was living a double life, secretly holding onto my relationship with Dale, whose memory haunted my every thought. I found myself reaching for my phone at odd hours, compelled to message him, an impulse that pulled me deeper into the web of emotions I was desperately trying to unweave. Dale's messages lit up my world. They were both a comfort and a reminder of the choices I had yet to confront. He shared his dreams of emigrating to England, his desire to start fresh and build a life that felt as vibrant as our time together in Lagos. "I want to be closer to you, Kelly," he wrote, and every word fueled the whirlwind of emotions within me. I promised to help him navigate the challenges ahead, unaware that my own life was standing on a precarious precipice. Then came the day I found out I was pregnant. Panic washed over me as I stared at the test, the reality of it grounding me in a way nothing else could. Whose child was this? My heart raced with a flood of conflicting thoughts. Was it Vincent's, the man who had been my rock, who had always wanted a family? Or was it Dale's, the man who had awakened parts of my soul I thought were dormant? The uncertainty sent me spiraling into a whirlwind of desire, guilt, and regret. I had always longed for a baby, a dream I had harbored since I was young. But now that very dream felt tainted by betrayal and confusion. How could I possibly bring a child into a world of uncertainty? My mind raced with questions, the turmoil churning within me like a storm. Each thought crashed against the next: guilt for Vincent, my loyal husband, and the sweetness of longing for this new life with Dale. I sank down amidst the baby clothes I had once excitedly collected, surrendering to the chaos and the realization of my own fragility. Alone in my bedroom that night, the reality of my situation settled like a heavy weight on my chest. I had hurt Vincent, and the uncertainty of my future stretched out before me like an endless abyss. The dreams I had held of starting a family felt tainted by desire and betrayal, unrecognizable from the vision I'd once cherished. My thoughts spiraled, anchoring me in a sea of confusion, loss, and what ifs. What kind of mother would I be? How could I navigate this new path I had paved with my choices? As the dawn broke, bringing a new day, something within me flickered to life. I realized I had to make peace with my decisions regardless of the outcome. This child, whether a dream woven from my desires or a responsibility born from choices, was part of me now. It was time to embrace the complexity of life, where love and pain often intertwined. I felt a quiet resolve settle over me. No matter the path ahead, I would find a way to confront my feelings, whether that meant reconciling with Vincent, charting a future with Dale, or forging my own path as a mother. I knew it was time to make a decision. The weight of my pregnancy pressed down on my chest, suffocating me with the uncertainty that swirled in my mind. As I looked down at my growing belly, I felt a rush of love mixed with dread. I had to tell Vincent, let him share in my joy. So that evening, with my heart racing, I revealed the news. Vincent's reaction was everything I had hoped for. "We're going to be parents," he beamed, lifting me off the ground in a joyful embrace. His excitement lit up the dark corners of my heart, momentarily overshadowing the haunting doubts of paternity that loomed heavily in my mind. I smiled through the bittersweet feelings, for I wanted to rejoice in our future, yet I couldn't shake off the nagging uncertainty that whispered warnings in my thoughts. In a quiet act of self-preservation, I cut off all contact with Dale. I deleted his number, silencing the seductive memories that still flickered like a flame in the recesses of my heart. It felt necessary to close that chapter if I was to move forward. Each deletion was a painful goodbye, a way to bury the fragments of desire that had entangled my emotions. But while I attempted to silence Dale, the uncertainty of the past lingered in the shadows of my mind. Then came the day he arrived, my beautiful baby boy, the embodiment of dreams I had once shared with Vincent. Holding him in my arms filled me with indescribable joy. He was perfect. I swore I'd protect him, assure him of my unwavering love, and shield him from the complexities of my secrets. Yet as I gazed into his innocent face, I also felt the turmoil deepen. Could he truly be a part of my life, knowing the cloud of uncertainty that shadowed his very existence? As the weeks turned to months, I endured the agonizing secret of uncertainty. My heart ached with the conflicting emotions gnawing at my core. Watching my son grow, I noticed the little things: his tinge of brown skin, his soft curls, features that transcended Vincent's Spanish ancestry. Each glance in the mirror reflected a haunting question: whose child are you? The joy of motherhood was often shadowed by the unknown, and the imagined whispers from friends and family grew louder in my mind, yet Vincent remained blissfully supportive. In public spaces, I often felt the weight of judgmental eyes. I would see other mothers playing with their children, and with each smile shed between them, I felt a pang of envy followed by guilt. What if they suspected? Did they see the uncertainty that lived beneath the surface? Yet Vincent remained oblivious, celebrating every milestone without a hint of doubt. The tension churned within me. I wanted so desperately to share my fears with him, but fear held me captive in silence. Nighttime brought my thoughts to a crescendo of fear and guilt. I would lie awake, listening to my son's soft breaths as he slept, a bittersweet melody that intertwined love and sorrow. The secret I thought I could bury deep began to claw its way to the surface, demanding attention. Did Vincent sense my internal struggle? Did he notice my hesitations? A part of me wondered if he too was haunted by suspicions, yet the idea terrified me. Days melted into months, each moment filled with laughter and joy shared between Vincent and our son. But with each smile exchanged, I felt the weight of my secret growing heavier, like a burden I could no longer carry. Vincent was the epitome of a loving father, nurturing and supportive, and part of me felt undeserving of his devotion. I longed to confide in him, to share the truth that could fracture the very foundation we'd built, but fear gripped me tighter than the love I felt for not just him but my child as well. I decided then to bury the secret deeper, hoping it would somehow fade away with time.